Evening, everybody. How am I going to do this? Can I reach? Oh, sort of. There we go. Sorry about that. Forgot to close the door. Don't want to get up. How's it going? What's going on? I hope everybody's okay. In a bit of pain today, lower back pain today. Not quite going away. No matter how many pills and booze I try to take. I was gonna set up outside. I'll Chaos and Comics and Sleepy Reader. It always looks so nice, but it's just too much work to get all my shit out there. Just thought I'd kind of come on and chat. I've read a bunch of stuff, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it since we didn't have the hangout this weekend. At this point right now, I'm recording this. It's 9:45 p.m. on Monday, the 3rd of August, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to make it even this weekend too. We're going next week on a camping trip. Probably we're leaving Sunday or Monday. We haven't decided a day yet. So I'm going to message the folks, Adam and Rasa, to let them know as well. But that's potentially what's happening. So I don't know if I'll make it for a chat next weekend. These things, I do want to talk about them. Obviously, it won't end any discussion. Can still talk about them with Adam and Rasa as well. So it's been quite a weekend. It's been great. There was a lot of live shows that happened. There was this Brutal Sound Effects Festival that was a 2-day thing. And then I performed on this stream called Ponya, Principles of Non-Isolation in Acoustic. I don't remember what it stands for exactly off the top of my head right now. I just have always called it Ponya. And it was fun, super fun. It's not something that I do a lot of. I haven't played out a lot for a long time. I haven't played with people, let alone absolute strangers, people that I didn't know whatsoever. I've never done anything like this online, so it was a lot of firsts in one fell swoop, which was kind of fun though. So the performance goes. It's 4 people that come onto the stream. They break off into duos. Those duos each perform kind of maximum half an hour kind of sets, and then at the end, all 4 play together. And I mean, it's always going to be a little tricky when it's people you don't know. I absolutely loved the duo. This guy was performing with Pablo, and it was incredible. We talked a little bit on Instagram before we came into the show, just very, very little. Just kind of, listening to some of his stuff. I don't have a lot of stuff on Bandcamp. Well, I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't have anything on Bandcamp. I've done a couple of videos lately where I've kind of done some performances or whatever. And I mean, the stuff that I do is very specific to me. But it's fun to kind of stretch those muscles and see how it goes playing with people. The style of stuff that he plays isn't something I'm very familiar with. I don't have a system where I have, I don't have a modular system. I don't have a modular synth kind of setup where I'm working a lot with clocks and things. My kind of, I'm getting a little bit more into that kind of stuff, but the root of the things that I do are very kind of abstract and, as you've seen, very chaotic and noisy at times, right? Which is kind of my area, to some degree, where I feel comfortable in. But it was great to kind of talk to him and get a sense of where he was coming from. And like I said, I really loved our duo performance. Like, I had a couple of things prepared, knew what I was going to bring to the table, kind of sat at the table with a few items around me so I could go to something, and kind of just practiced a little bit, just played some stuff a couple of days before, more to just try out the live setup. I ended up renting a audio interface, Focusrite, is that what the hell it's called? You can put 2 in, and then it goes USB out to the computer. Reaper is the program that they use, and then there's like this Ninjack where you kind of connect to their server, so you're playing in real time, the stream is happening on a delay, but you're kind of have a screen in front of you where you can talk to people, you can see your levels, everybody else's levels. Again, not technology I'm very familiar with at all, but I have to hand it to them, Jake and Jason, an incredible setup. Like, they really have it down to a science. The emails were super clear. They had like a PDF walking you step by step through it. So even for a guy like me who's not that kind of technologically advanced in many ways, it was incredibly easy to follow. Really, really professional shit, and just a lot of fun. They're really great people. It's nice to kind of, I think I've said it here before, that one of the nice things that's happened during this kind of lockdown and during this pandemic is that there's a lot of these artists that are doing these performances online, where a guy like me up here in the prairies can kind of interact and see what they're presenting and hear music and stuff like that, and especially see what kind of art they're presenting through video. And it's been stellar. The 2-day Brutal Sound Effects Festival was a lot of fun. There were some amazing sets. You know, it's a lot of artists that I would never get to see, that they're not coming my way. I'm not traveling down their way anytime soon, especially with what's going on down there with the COVID and the mishandling of it. But it's nice to kind of have that outlet, and I'm glad that they're continuing to do these things. Yeah, so that was my weekend. I've read a bunch of shit over the past couple of days, but I guess maybe one of the things I just wanted to start with was I know that I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. I realize that. I'm going to pronounce it the way I've always pronounced it. Adrian Tomine. I know that that's not the way. I don't remember how he pronounced it. There was an interview with him on Kayfabe. What's today? Today's Monday. So yesterday. Incredible interview. I know his work a little bit. I'm not overly familiar. I'm not a super fan or anything. Really, really great. I'm glad that they took a hiatus from doing the interviews. I'm really glad that they took a hiatus from doing the interviews, if I'm honest. 2 a week was fun and everything. There were some really good ones, but it was really just, it's not the easiest thing to keep up with all the time, especially with the length that some of their interviews go. So I'm glad that they decided to take a break. Ryan C. Oh, it's weak. Hey, that's too bad, because I was going to pick it up. His last 2 books have been weak, actually. That's really too bad. Nice to see you. It's been forever since I've seen you. That's really too bad, because I was going to pick it up. I was very curious to check it out after seeing that interview. He did say in that, and I mean, I'm not saying that this is the case. It might just be weak no matter what. Even Jim was saying it seemed to be kind of a cartoonist's book, you know, where there was a lot of stuff that maybe would be, they weren't sure how it would go over with kind of the average kind of comic fan or whatever. Not that we're average comic fans, we're above average. But that kind of stuck out from the end of it. I might still check it out if I can find it at some point. Yeah, no, I hear you. Most people love his stuff, so what do I know? Maybe you'll like it. Well, I mean, the thing is, you know quite a bit. You know, like I value. There's a lot of people that I've encountered here on YouTube where their opinion, you know, actually matters. Believe it or not. So it was great to see that interview. It was a really nice kind of length as well. It was also great that they talked about Drawn and Quarterly as much as they did, and how he started with them. What I didn't realize is that he put together, he was responsible for kind of getting Yoshihiro Tatsumi on the map for us over here, or not single-handedly responsible, but at points it seemed like right at first he may have been very responsible for kind of not only collecting his work, just getting his work known here. So I didn't realize that, and I've only got this 1 volume of it. I've had it forever. I didn't realize that he was responsible for the book itself and even hand lettering it, which is great, because I've always thought this was an impressive volume. It was one of those things, like there were the other volumes on in the bookstores here at the time. I picked up one with the intention of trying it out and maybe going and getting the other ones. Of course, when I tried it out and found out I loved it, I went back and they were all sold, and I just never followed up with ordering the rest of them. I'm sure that I could. He did reference, I believe it was this that he was referencing from Catalan. I also thought it was, no, I guess it is just Catalan. So then maybe I don't know if this is the one that he was referencing. It might have been this one that he referenced, where this was the only work that was out there beforehand. And apparently what he was saying is they didn't get the rights. Tatsumi didn't even know that it existed. It may have been based on, I can't remember what he said. Did he say a French or a Spanish translation? I don't remember. And somebody just kind of decided to print it up and put it out. So I believe this was the volume that he was talking about. So, and I think, I don't know if all of the stories from this one appear in that book. He's a hell of a writer. I've spoken about him before on the channel. Probably when I bought this, and more than likely when I bought that book as well too. I wish I could point you towards the videos, but if you don't know Tatsumi's work, really, I really encourage you to check it out. There's definitely a kind of grim kind of sadness and kind of, you know, stuff at play here, but amazing stuff. I really, really enjoy it. So based on that interview, I really want to keep my eyes open for the other volumes. I think one is called Pushman and Other Stories. This is Abandoned the Old in Tokyo. And I believe there's another one. We have contrasting reviews of it up on Solrad in the coming days. One for me and one positive one. Okay, so about the Tomini book, the new one. And I need that new D&Q Hoshiharu Tsuge collection. I'll check it out afterwards. I haven't, and that was the other thing I think that I liked about the interview. Kind of put Drawn Quarterly back on my radar. I've been a huge fan of Drawn Quarterly for pretty much my entire comic reading life, especially, well, maybe not entire comic reading life, but when I discovered kind of alternative comics and indie comics or whatever, they were on my radar pretty quick. Centrifugal Bumble Puppy was one of the magazines. Then, of course, the Drawn and Quarterly magazine itself. And then with guys like Chester Brown and Seth and Joe Matt, excuse me, pardon me, those would have been guys that I was reading as well then. So Drawn and Quarterly have been on my radar for a lot of my life. I was fortunate enough to be able to visit the store on a trip to Montreal one time. I've only been to Montreal, I think, 2 or 3 times at this point. One of them, I was fortunate enough to go to the store. Really, really small, not what I expected. Incredible, though, really nice place. So it was really good to see some love to Canada again, like there was in the I wanna be your dog, and I'm blanking on his name right now. Not Cho. I'm totally blanking on his name. Anyway, great interview. Great guys. They've had some really great videos actually lately where they've looked at some collections. And again, it's that time of night. I'm going to blank on a ton of people's names. Warren Bernard. He's so off the deep end. Yeah, he's off the deep end for sure. Warren Bernard has stopped by and has brought a bunch of stuff to show off. And he brought some East Village Other and things to, like, underground papers. Which was really, really great. I've always, it's one of those things that I would love to get in my underground collection. Some of those old newspapers from the underground press, I think would be fantastic. I look at them every once in a while online, and the prices are just insane. So I've never pulled the trigger yet, but eventually I'll pull the trigger and get something like that to add to the collection. So one of the, I don't know, we'll start here. So recently, probably about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago, going into one of the spots in town here, Book Fair, that's on Portage Avenue, right in the heart of downtown Winnipeg. Always go and check things out. That's where I buy like my magazine bags and boards too. They have the magazine bags and boards that I buy. They sell them in by the 10, you know, you can buy them by the dozen, I think, or is it 10 or a dozen? I don't remember. So you're not committing to buying 100 bags and boards. And then I buy stuff from there every once in a while too. They always have some great stuff in the back issue bins. They have a really good Vertigo section there. Lots of great stuff. So the last time that I was there, they had a bunch of the Love and Rockets first edition kind of trade paperbacks from Fantagraphics. I couldn't afford it at the time, so I let them sit. They popped up in our chat recently when I was talking to Adam and Rasa, and it just kind of reminded me, like, shit, I got to go back and see if I can find them. So I did go back, and I did find they still had 2 volumes, book 3 and 4. And then I sent out a message to one of my guys here in town to see if he had any of the volumes. He's got book number 2, so he's going to bring it to the flea market on the weekend, and I'll go and pick up number 2. So I completed volume 3, and I'm just tonight I read the first half of volume 4, and it's really great. It's, again, I've spoken about it before, that it's not a series that I followed. It's not a series that I ran out to get. I was more along the lines of I was getting the Hate and the 8-Ball and that sort of thing. I just wasn't, Love and Rockets wasn't on my radar. It just didn't appeal to me. And even reading it now, I can see at the time it probably wouldn't have appealed to me if I had given it a chance. I don't think I would have given it the fair shake. It's really, really fun. And I you know, I'm not going to speak about it a ton because it's, you know, it's not exactly breaking new ground saying that you enjoy Love and Rockets, but I'm really glad that I found these, and I'm really glad I decided to dive in. So they present these stories in these volumes. I don't know how many printings of this there's been. I imagine a fucking boatload. But these ones, the comics herein are 1987, copyright 1987. Yeah, so this is first Fantagraphics Books edition, August 1987. So here's what you get in volume 3. A lot of fun. So it starts off with Mechanics, a story that I've heard about. Great one, but it was the one with Luba, I believe her name is, in the second half. And I love, this is the other thing I really enjoy, these color inserts of the covers in the middle. Really, really nice stuff. Yeah, so Acts of Contrition, this storyline here, I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a really, really great story. She seems like a hell of a character. And then again, the more that you read, the more that I'm reading now, seeing how all the worlds tie in and seeing them reference other things from past stories, and I'm assuming from future stories as well too. That's the one thing I would say that I'm probably missing from reading it in the single issues, because each of the chapters were in a different magazine, I imagine. I only have 2 of the actual magazines themselves. It's, again, not something that I've found I see a lot at all. So it's interesting seeing it presented this way, where you're getting that full story instead of kind of going issue by issue to get another piece of the puzzle. So it'd be interesting to see how that played out with the kind of sub stories. But I understand why you'd want to present it in this format. So I'm loving it. I'm really, really loving it. It's one of those things that I know that as soon as I'm done this, I'm going to be jonesing for more. So I'm glad that I'll be able to get volume 2 just before we go camping, because that'll definitely be something that comes with me to read out there. So really great. The other thing that surprised me this week, I think you probably saw me show this off. The Shadow. Yes, that's right. Yeah. There you go. Warren Bernard is the guy who runs SPX. He's got one of the most extensive collections in the world, literally. Yeah, they did have a video on Kayfabe where they go to his house and he talks about, they see parts of his collection and he shows off certain things. Seems like quite a character, a hell of a collection for sure. Absolutely. Sienkiewicz, Helfer, The Shadow, what is it, 6 issues? Yeah, 6 issues. Man, was this fun. And again, it's me coming late to the party. I understand. I hear you. It's not like this is a diamond in the rough here. There's a lot of people that have raved about this series, but boy, did I ever love this. And I was talking to somebody online, and forgive me, I've forgotten who that was. So if you do see this video, I apologize. And they were saying that apparently Sienkiewicz was kind of phoning it in to some degree. Like he wasn't as invested because he thought, I think he said that he thought it was going to be an all painted comic, but it turned out not to be the case. That said, if he was phoning this in, this is some stellar fucking artwork from Sienkiewicz in this one. The story is nice and crazy too. It has moments of kind of, you know, my favorite, has moments of absurdity with some real kind of quote unquote serious shit going down, you know, with some kind of really nice subtext about corporations and things and world dominance. Really, really enjoyed this a lot. I think Kyle Baker picks up after this, so I'll probably pick up some of those issues as well to give them a shot. So yeah, hell of a read, lots of fun. And then the new, I think the rest of these are, yes, they're new books. I think I talked about those ones. Let's go this. I might have talked about this one with a, yeah, really, hey, so gets even better. Wow, then there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to continue, because that's incredible if it gets even better, because like I said, I loved these ones a lot. I wasn't sure with getting all this Sienkiewicz stuff, kind of, you know, narrowing my focus on trying to find a bunch of things Sienkiewicz. I wasn't sure what I was going to think about these, but I absolutely loved it. Might have talked about this one already, Mountainhead. There's very few comics that I'm picking up, like new comics. This is one I do still have a pull list. I think it has 2, possibly 3 titles on it. It might be 3. I don't remember if I put the Batman one on there now. So I've got Mountainhead on my pull list. I've got Space Riders on my pull list, for sure. And I love this book. I've shown it off before in Adam, Hangout with Adam and Rasa, but it never hurts to show some of this batshit crazy art again. The story is bizarre. People coming down from the mountaintops, kind of possessed. There's some sort of demons going around. There's all sorts of crazy shit. When I read the first issue, I think I talked about the first issue. Probably one of the better first issues I've read in a long time, especially introducing our main character and kind of where he's coming from, like a page like that. I thought that first issue was really, really great to really set the stage of like, oh, fuck, this is what we're dealing with. But it's the art that keeps me coming back for sure. The story is a lot better than, you know, I love Space Riders. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. The story is in that one is just there as a placeholder to move the art forward. This one, I feel like the story and the art work really well together. There was another crazy ass fucking page. Here we go. Love it. This is a hell of a book. I don't remember how many issues there's supposed to be, if it's a 6 or an 8 or what it is. But I am in love with this book. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm glad that it came back. I thought it might be one of them that fell by the wayside during the pandemic, because I think issue 3 came out just before we all locked down, and I don't know much about these creators. I don't know much about how it works for some people if they're creating a bunch of books in advance and kind of have the series finished before it's being released. I don't know the backstory to these guys. So I was kind of worried that it might be something that would fall by the wayside. I'm really, really glad to see that so far it hasn't. Hell of a read. I love Jim Henson's The Storyteller. This is the number 2. Yeah, so 2 of 4 of the Ghosts series. This was a nice little story. It wrapped up really quick. It wasn't my favorite of the storyteller stuff so far. I really liked the art in here, though, a kind of nice, clean style. And I don't know what kind of paper they're printing these covers on, but it feels real beautiful. So there you go. There's some of the art in there. The storyteller stuff, like I said, I have a few of the issues. I think I got my daughter one of the collections. I don't remember which one. I can't remember if it was fairies or if it was dragons. I don't remember which one we bought. But they're fun. I mean, I'm not reading her this series. This Ghosts one is just, I'm just reading it because it does have some graphic stuff in here. A little too intense for her. But I enjoyed it. It just was the story didn't kind of, I don't know, it felt like the pacing on the story was a little rushed, which maybe took me by surprise. I realized that they're not doing things over a couple of issues. These are kind of one and done stories, but this one wasn't the strongest so far. I'll just say that. But still worth picking up, and I will continue to pick it up. This one is now on my pull list, and holy hell, I loved the first goddamn series a lot. I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the brutality of it. This one, I'm curious where it's going to go. They had to do it. They had one of the main characters named Lillian, which is the same as my daughter. So that was, you know, that made it a little bit more difficult to kind of read along with. It doesn't feel like it's going anyplace good. There's going to be horrible shit, but I wouldn't expect any less, considering what happened in the first series. This one's extra thick. I don't know, it's not quite double, but I'm excited that it's back, and I'm on board for sure. I don't remember if I added this to my pull list last time I was in that comic shop, but if not, I'll rectify that next time I won't go in. I'm not sure how many issues this is going. Maybe Ryan, maybe you know how much it is. But a hell of a read. And then I've already spoken about it a little bit, but, you know, how can I not continually rave about this? The Alexis Zaritt art, Alexis Zaritt, sorry. Alexis Zaritt art is what I'm here for. It's a bonus that Carlos Giffoni does the writing. There's nothing wrong with his writing in this one. I think this is going to be a really fun series. But again, the main reason I'm here is the art. They could have anybody writing the story, and I would still buy it. It wouldn't really affect me any different. You're not here for some complex, earth-shattering story. You want to see shit get fucked up, and you want to just see this crazy ass art with these amazing colors. Yeah, 5 or 6 issues. Okay, yeah. For the goddamned, that is, for those of you following along at home. Yeah, I've got everything else that he's done, like with Space Riders. I've got all the other previous miniseries. And again, they could keep putting these out. They could take 2-year breaks, come back with another 4-issue miniseries, and I'd be right there again. I wouldn't hesitate for a second. I know what I'm in for, and I absolutely love it. So the last thing that I'll talk about, I did speak about this one. So Batman the Adventure Continues. Unfortunately, this was the only cover that was left for issue number 1, and it's a bullshit cover. But what are you going to do? I wanted the story. So it's the Batman animated comic kind of coming back. This first issue was a little disappointing. I think it was a bit jarring for me personally because I'm not reading DC and Marvel books like new stuff. I'm just not. So I think it was a little jarring to be flipping through and seeing stuff like this and seeing the ads and seeing kind of what's happening, you know. And it just, the writing in this first one didn't feel like that. But again, it might have been just my headspace with coming into it and again, seeing all this other shit that's going on and being reminded kind of why I'm not buying new comics anymore. And I'm, you know, not really going to talk about it. It's just something that I'm not as interested in doing much. I love going and looking, and there's stuff that I'm interested in for sure, but I just don't, I rarely pull the trigger on new stuff anymore. I'm just so kind of, my focus is on older stuff. It's just what I enjoy a lot more. So I think the writing in this one was just so. It's always going to be the thing where, you know, just like with the superhero movies, if you're a big fan of the character, so much so that you maybe base part of your identity on it, you might hate the movies. Whereas I'm a bit detached when it comes to the movie, but Batman animated series is a big show for me. It was a hell of a good show. I watched it with the kids. Like, me and my daughter have watched a bunch of episodes. We haven't sat and watched everything yet, but I mean, I was watching it when it was coming out, and then I watched the whole thing with my son. I've got all the DVDs. I've watched all the bonus features. I have a bunch of the comics. I don't have the whole run yet, but the second issue really picked up. And like I said, it might be that my mindset changed a little bit for this reading. I kind of read it more so with that voice of the characters that I remember from the show. Clayface, I think, is a great character from that show. They did a good job with Clayface, and Mr. Freeze, I would say, would be my two favorites from the animated series. But this one was great, and I can see it's you know, it's going somewhere, bringing in some other characters. Yeah, this is just a good nostalgia book for me, but this one was more of an enjoyable read than the first one. It's just good to see it back. In the back of my head, it would be nice to have a couple, even if they just did a couple of shorts, a couple of animated shorts. I would be absolutely ecstatic with that. Or who knows, if that Spider-Verse animated movie was really successful, if that continues to be a success, maybe DC decides they want to go that route, or maybe they do a straight to DVD Batman animated movie. That would be fantastic as well too. I'd love to see any of the above. So yeah, I'm going to keep going with that one. Just cuz. And I think, oh yeah, the last thing. So that was all the new comics. I started in on this as well too. I read the first story from this Freddie Lombard. It was enjoyable. There was a strange mix of, and again, sometimes I put this down to the potentially the translation as well, where you can't quite get the grasp of what they're going for when you're not reading it in the original language. It was a fun story. It was a little goofier than I thought it was going to be, though. I think that's kind of what surprised me. I thought it was going to be a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more serious in tone. There's a lot of, like, you know, alcoholism that takes place in this first story. It's beautiful to look at. I haven't done any research into the artist. I don't know much, but as I've spoken about before, heavy Tintin influence for sure, especially with that main character. So it makes me think, I wonder if it's also supposed to partially be a jab at Tintin. Maybe there's something there that I'm missing. And then at the end, when they go on this kind of treasure hunt, we get exposed to something a little more adventurous and a little more mystery oriented, and the tone changes a bit. I haven't finished off yet. Like, I've just read the first story, so I haven't dug into the rest of it yet, but the art is incredible. I really like it. And I mean, I've said it a million times before, and I'll keep saying it. I love this format a lot. I love this oversized hardcover collected format of this European stuff. I'll take it any day. Oh, that's upside down. I'll take it any day over anything else. I think it's fantastic. There was a second volume at Red River where I picked this up. He had the upstairs open on Saturday, but unfortunately I couldn't make it down on Saturday because I think next time I go, I'm going to try to sneak upstairs, see if he'll let me sneak upstairs to grab the second volume of this. Looking around here to see what else. I haven't read it yet, but I found for a single $1 another Cracked magazine. I think it was $1. So picked it up. This is a bit later. What are we looking at here? September 1998. you know, Godzilla on the front. Why the hell not? It's not the Peter Bagge or Klaus era or anything, but it still looks like there's some fun art in here. And I mean, even if I end up, like I said before, my brother is a huge Cracked fan. We've spoken a couple of times. He's still in China. We've spoken a couple of times about doing kind of a care package back and forth. He's going to send me out. I really want some of the Chwar spice, the barbecue spice. So I'm thinking that if I find a few more of these, maybe part of the care package, I'll send him some of these Cracked magazines so he can kind of sit and relive his youth. Although in 1998 he wasn't reading it. I'm going to see if I can find some older issues and potentially throw some in there for him and send him some stuff. I think that's all that I've read. Yeah, that's 2 read piles up here. And what's over here? That's some bags. I've talked about those ones. Those ones I've read. They're to be filed away. Yeah, no, that's it. Those are my stacks, people. Thank you very much. Oh, let's see, what do we got up here? No, nothing. Just want to double check. Stand by 1 minute. Oh, and I spoke about this. This is the other one that I did read. And I did speak about it with Adam and Rasa, but holy, Wonder Woman Dead Earth, enjoyable so far with the 2 issues. I will be continuing. Which way am I going here? Holy smokes, feels like it's been forever. I'm going to be continuing with this for sure. I really, really like the art a lot. It's Daniel Warren Johnson is right on my radar. Got him in my sights. The one thing that, I mean, you know, book 2 has been out for a little bit now too, so spoilers be damned. Even though this happens pretty early on, I got to show the page again. Because as soon as I saw this page, I was sold on, okay, I'm sticking with this one. There's no turning back now. Here, right here. When she finally gets awakened and goes upstairs and realizes whose house, whose mansion she's in. As soon as I saw that panel, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. I'm on board for this one. This is clearly going to be an Elseworlds kind of tale where we're going way outside. And I know that's the thing with the Black Label. It's supposed to be a little more adult oriented or whatever. But I was that sold me for sure. Seeing Batman there, that sold me. But the art is incredible. It's a fun story so far. It'll be an absolute mess, I'm sure. So I'm sticking with that one too. Okay. Now that is it. That's it for sure this time. Thanks very much, Ryan. It was good to see you in the chat. There was 1 or 2 people that kind of popped in and out. Thanks very much for those of you watching in the future. And take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon.